Oh man. All right. So let's get started. Let's get going. Let's have some
Yeah,
fun.
let's get this party started.
Do. Welcome. Ish.
Hey, everybody. It's like I haven't seen you forever. My name's Phil Cutting. This is Mr. Hill. And we are destroying the world with business model generation. All your previous conceptions of how to run and start a business were wrong. We're going to show you why here in this episode, where we cover strategy and design and everything you ever dreamed about. God bless you guys. Enjoy today's episode.
Was that your attempt at being a jeez,
Sarcastic
radio
asshole.
host? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, trying? You are one.
Yeah, right, right. I got it. Look, some people are born with talent. You know what I'm saying?
Ha! Some people have to scrape the bottom of the barrel for it.
Right, right. Sometimes
Ah.
you get both.
All
Are we
right,
going to skip patterns? The pattern
uh,
section?
if
I
you
think
want.
it's kind of I think it's kind of heavy at this
Yes.
stage.
Well, so all right, here let's do a quick. Where is it? Is it better? No, not
It's in the
that.
beginning. It's the first
No, no,
five
no, no.
sections.
There we go. So to give everyone a little quick recap, last episode we talked about this diagram and we defined our terms. So if you haven't listened to it and you never really went and actually like went through that, please go back and listen because hey, guess what? We're going to be talking about things and if you're confused, well, it's your fault because you didn't go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
All
or
right.
read the book beforehand.
Yep. Um, we could talk about patterns, but I'm kind of with you in the sense that it is a heavy topic. I think the two things that I will talk about or that I would talk about with them that is very that is very um, uh, popular right now are the two most popular patterns that everybody talks about is the long tail.
Yep.
So they
And
have
for the
this.
long tail, think YouTube content, things you do to bring
Yes.
value over the long run, and
Yep.
then build up to make longer term value.
Yep. So like here's a really good diagram and a description of it. It's kind of exactly like what Phil said. Whereas a lot of people who focus on a small number of products and they want to sell extremely high volume, like that's not going to be you right away, right at the beginning of it. Most likely when you're starting out, kind of think of the big manufacturers. Think Apple. Apple has a wide range of products, but when you really think about it, it's actually not as wide range as as other people. So like Samsung. Samsung has a like they have a massive amount of products. Another good example would be car manufacturers. They actually are because they only focus on a few models that they just iterate on year after year after year. So that's another good example of focusing in on that. But like the long tail, Amazon could be considered focusing in on the long tail, at least at the very beginning, because they focused in on books, and then they kind of said, "Hey, we're going to offer every single book." So
Hmm.
they kind of focused in on the long tail of that.
Yep.
Um, And then the other one I want to bring up is the freemium model.
Okay. The bait and hook, the freemium, the
Yeah, the but like the freemium is definitely the one that everybody should be very familiar with these days. When they wrote this book back in like what 2010,
I think
freemium was
so.
still new, or at least still considered to be a new model.
Mhm.
Uh, think about freemium as when you are when you download a mobile game there you're like you can work and you can play that game for free as much as you want, but there's going to come a point in which they're going to start trying to upsell you and get you to pay money for things and be like, hey, you've played. you're only allowed 1 hour of free play a day. If you want unlimited, you need to pay this much. Or think of podcasts like us. We are a freemium model. We give you 1 hour for free. And it's also kind of like, chopped up too, because, hey, guess what? We say some things that we don't necessarily want out
That
there.
don't belong in the world really, right?
Yeah.
But we put it in the open section anyways, and we
And
shouldn't.
then we've got like a paywall up to hide our true selves from you.
I believe I can fly.
Yep. So if you want, so that's kind of a little bit of a plug.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, so yeah, just kind of think about the like that's what freemium is. Like you get some free stuff, but then when you want to get more, or when they provide more, they hide it behind a paywall. Those are the two ones that I really want to bring out because I think those are the two that are most prevalent out there these days that people see, especially for startups.
Yeah. Yeah. So it depends on your market, right? Obviously, long tail and freemium stand out to us in significant ways because it's a great way for little guys to work their way into the market.
Yes.
The so Microsoft isn't giving away a lot of freemium stuff, but they actually are because
Yeah.
they have, for example, they have a Visual Studio, right? It's a free
Yes.
way to program code and to have access to these coding languages. I remember when I used to learn the program, I had to buy the language, right,
Oh
or
yeah, that's
steal it.
right. I
Yeah,
completely forgot about all that.
yeah, back in the day, right?
Yep.
So it's really every business model needs to see how they can encourage growth and adoption. So freemium really goes into that. It's almost bait and hook, depending on the licensing they use, right?
Yep. Yep.
So at some point, Microsoft really suffered because they put stuff out there freemium, but they said we can change the license whenever we want, and a lot of
Yes.
people said, "Okay, cool," but right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they lost a lot of market because of that. They lost a whole generation of developers because of that. Because people are like,
Yes.
I'm not going to deal with uncertainty. I'm just going to develop in what I can. And that gives me more devices, anyways. Good luck, Microsoft. Right?
Yep.
And then Apple came in and took over. So the I think that might have been the point where they really lost out. They realized they learned their lessons. They changed things. That okay, it is
Yeah.
free now. Here it is. Build on the platform. Make it great. Right. Make Microsoft's great again. And I figure I get somebody trigger on that. And so even bigger guys have this freemium model, but how much do they look into it? It's hard to say. Um,
True.
Apple, what does Apple have for freemium? Nothing other
No,
than
they
the
do.
App Store.
The cloud,
They have the
iCloud.
cloud. Okay, up
iCloud.
to two, yeah, for downloads and stuff, up to 2 terabytes. It's actually not bad.
There. So the iCloud is. Let me pull that up. iCloud. Let's get some info on this. Oh wow! Oh wow! Denied on that computer, which kind of makes me a little surprised. Oh come. Okay. All right. Let's see. There it is. That's what I want. iCloud pricing. Do, 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 do.
But I think
So,
it's a good technique to consider. For all my
yes.
clients, I try to one of the first things I ask is what can you give away, if anything, that's going to help attract users to your app?
Yep.
What can you do to make this useful for anybody, even if they don't pay for it, and if they don't even get the best parts of your app, right?
Yep.
Is there something that we can put on there that would say, "God, I'm going to have this on my phone just because of this, right? It does all this for me, and that's so useful." Now, just because of reciprocity and having some really useful tools in there, right? The paid version should be so enticing that when they see it on their phone in the first place, they're
Yep.
happy to go ahead and pay for it.
Yep. Exactly. Like,
As they're able to. People go through cycles where they can and can't.
and one of the things that one of the mistakes that people will make with the freemium models is that they won't put their best face forward. They'll degrade the experience
Yep, that
and
is
make it.
a huge mistake.
Yep.
Does it talk about it in this book?
I
But
don't
that's a
think
great question.
so.
The one of the worst things you can do is give away crap for
Yes.
free. And then
Yes.
everybody judges you on that crap that you gave out. You're saying it's free. What the hell do you want?
Yep.
Clients are saying, this is crap. I tried the free stuff. I'm not going to pay for the rest because, I mean, this is probably what they're able to do. Right. That's a taste you left. Don't do that.
Yep.
Better not to give away anything than to give away crap.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Because it's like you're kind of saying, you want to entice them into coming in and spending money with you.
Yep.
And it's funny. We can sit here and we could say like, put your crap behind the paywall and put the good stuff up front. Because one of the interesting things is it's like
Yeah.
if
We
you
put our
do,
crap behind the paywall and we put our
yes.
good stuff up front.
But even then, I would say don't do that because because that people that information gets out there. So there's this one newsletter that I subscribe to, and I'll catch it every once in a while. It's called 1% Better. It's by this guy named Colby Kultgen. Kultgen. It's an okay. I don't really. It's not like one of the better newsletters that I get
Mhm.
because he doesn't really say anything that I don't already know in there. I just like getting it to look at a few things. There's a good suggestion here of that he had recently. It's like it's 100 tips for it's from an article called 100 tips for a better life. And one of the first tips that he gives is if you want to find out people's opinions on a product, Google whatever the product is, Reddit, and you'll get real people arguing as compared to the SEO'd Google results. So if you want to know how good, excuse me, like if you want to know how good our podcast is, for example, Google our podcast and put Reddit in there, and then if there are some Redditors who have listened to it and talked about it, it's going to pop up. That's what you
And
want
if
to.
you don't see it and you Google us, go in there and either love on us or hate on us and have some fun.
Yeah, we're okay with either
Right?
because we don't care.
I don't
But
care.
like
You can do
so the reason I bring that up is if you put the bad stuff behind the paywall, the stuff that's like not really good, people are going to go onto Reddit, for example, and tell you about it and tell people about that. So the thing is like you don't want just the good stuff for free and bad stuff behind the paywall. You don't want the bad stuff for free and the good stuff behind the paywall. You kind of want good on both. You
Mhm,
just want more behind the paywall. Like you want to give people more, something that's different, something that's there because you need to be able to make that offer of signing up for the paywall be what do you call it? Enticing. So
mhm.
anyway, there you go. So
Yep. I
all
would
right,
say if you're a service company today,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like myself, um, put your best stuff out there for free, right? Put all of it, like the whole darn thing. And put
excuse me,
and behind the paywall in the payment stuff is the done for you stuff,
yeah,
right?
that's a
Where
good
you
idea.
really provide value
Yeah,
and let the market then see what what value you bring. Because like honestly, all of our crap is like the same, right? I have processes. There's a few other companies that are as good as me, right?
yeah,
I can't say that I'm really that much more amazing than them,
yeah.
right? It's really that we have a process, you jive with me, and we can connect and work it out in a way that makes sense, right?
It's
And
that.
that's where the magic
It's
happens.
that.
If you jive with somebody else, go with them, and let
Well,
your customers go out there and just see if they like you in the first place.
yep. Oh, it's like I think I've said this before in the podcast. I'll bring it up again. Seth Godin's book, This is Marketing, the number one lesson that I walked away from that book about or from with it is this is not for you. If you take a product and you look at it and you're like, why would somebody buy it? The product is not for you at that
Yep.
point.
Yeah.
All right. Like the product is for somebody else then.
I
Don't
got
sit
clients
there.
to say, "There's no way in hell I'm gonna pay you $8,000 to make this website." I'm like, "Cool."
That's cheap, dude.
I know, right? Especially when I bring in designers. Um,
Oh, oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm insane,
Yeah,
but
you
I'm a
are.
badass. But the I got and they're like, "That's way too much." I'm like, "Cool. Go on, search this technology, right? And make your own
Yes.
product. And when you've made enough money that you see the weaknesses in your product and your deliverables, then come to me, right? When you're not
Yep.
starving anymore. I get it, right?
Yep.
If what I'm saying sounds like a big number to you, then it is a big number and you're not
Yeah.
ready for somebody like me.
When and there you go. You're not ready because
Yeah.
you're not ready in a couple of different ways. One, you're not ready in the financial sense because you don't have the money.
Yep.
All right. Two, you're not ready in the mental sense. Two, because you do not know or understand the value that is being provided, and you
Yeah.
need to be you like you.
If you don't see the
I
value,
mean,
I'm not going to try to sell you on it.
exactly, exactly. And you know what? And that's one of the big things for like for you at this point is you've gotten to a point where you can do that.
Yeah,
At the
I can sell
beginning,
people on value. I
yep,
often will walk away and say, "Man, I like you. I want you to kick butt. I can't help rescue your company.
yes, yep, exactly. Like all
You
of
have
that
more
is
problems than I can cope
100%
with."
true. Yep. So, all right, strategy. I think we've talked about those patterns
Uh-huh.
enough.
Well, we skipped a bunch of that, but I think it would be better to go back through there and really dig it up, like at
I
the end.
agree. I think you're right. I
So
think you're 100% correct. I just wanted to point out those two patterns because that's just what you
'cause they're
see.
sexy patterns.
They're really good patterns. I
Yeah,
like them.
everybody should know about those. Um, okay,
Yes.
I I know these guys are super smart and they went through their book in a meaningful way.
Okay.
And we started off that way with the vocabulary to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
But I want to either skip ahead to process, right? Because I think it's going to
Okay.
be kind of fun and lead us into talk about the process so people can get the little extra value add on the book and the value of the book. Then strategy, where we just cover some of the strategy at a high level, right? Because
Yeah.
they have like six key components, and we don't need to get into SWOT and all the other analysis process and how the
True.
system ties into that.
Yep.
Because that could be a longer session, right? And then I want to jump into design because the design section has a lot of fun stuff and it gives us everything we need to do to really get into your case study.
So I don't necessarily think we're going to get to all of that today, obviously, because that is a lot. Might only be able to do only one of those, but I think we need to. But I think that's a good way to go about that. However, I would say maybe we should just dive into like and talk about what about the process, and then as we're going through the process, we can talk about the strategies or
I love it.
strategy. Does
Ooh.
that work?
Okay, you're the boss.
All right, you take over. Get
All
going.
right, cool. So the business model process depends on where you're starting, right? Essentially, we have two starting places. One, you're either a startup and you're in the beginning of ideation, or
Yeah.
you're an established business or an organization and you're looking to improve your organization. They both have very different challenges, right? So
Yes.
if you're just starting off, the
Ah,
challenges are finding the right business model, testing the model to see if it's going to be beneficial for a full scale launch,
yeah.
and uh, researching and discovering the market and how it adapts to your model, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
continuously then adapting the model based off the feedback that you're getting, the use cases, the customer
Mm-hmm.
avatars that you're building and discovering, right? And this is and you're dealing with uncertainty, right? Because you really starting from the ground of I don't know what's exactly going on because I'm starting up. I'm discovering my niche. I'm trying to take over something. Maybe it's a little different if you're trying to do a photocopy of Microsoft or a
Yeah.
photocopy of McDonald's, right? I don't know what that is. I'm not interested in that. So That's not for us. If you want to do the I'm going to rob somebody else's business model discussion, is just go get their business plan and
Well,
try
yeah,
it.
just sit down and like study them. Take a look. What are they doing? And and there, one of the things that I would say about that is it can be useful to go and study other business models and take a look and see how they are doing things and what they are doing. It can be
I
useful.
I think that's good after you've established your business model and you're trying to look for future trends and seeing how things are going.
So I definitely agree with that because one of the mistakes that people can make when they are studying other business models is they can get too much information and not
It
actually
doesn't apply to
start.
them.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's my
So,
that's my challenge is that people take another business model and it doesn't actually apply to what they're trying to do.
yep,
They just go after a giant they think that's there and they're really missing their business, their value. And it's a lot of work to do this process, right? This is an insane
yeah,
amount of work that I have started with a couple business owners before, and they're like, it's just too much for us. We can't do this." Right.
yeah.
And I'm like, I respect that. You regret it. We'll move on. And, and every time it's come back, it's like, Phil, it bit us because now we're circling back after we have our MVP and we
Yeah,
wish we did this before. And I'm like, I know you do. And I've
yeah,
been suffering that with you, and you've paid me a lot more than you need to because of that.
yeah, exactly.